I look sweaty and red.
We're gonna mute you guys. You got Vic, Luke. Okay. Thank you so much for being with us on a Tuesday night, the greatest night of the week. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo, and this is, thank God it's Tuesday. Thank you so much for being with us again. I want to welcome in my two co hosts for each and every Tuesday night. Been going on 5 years. We'll be there soon, guys, and we'll be in the basement, pandemic or not, on that night, if I do say so myself. Starting clockwise, counterclockwise, from right to left, he is Tim Strachan. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a cordial Tuesday. I tuned into the earlier show. Kevin thought it'd be fun to make fun of my basketball skills in front of Kerry Gaskins. That was really so tonight. Kevin is Smalls, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, I just announced to the universe that you are a Division I basketball talent. I don't know what else I can do. I guess I'll be small. I guess I'm Smalls.
T to you, a lot of people are smalls. I mean, you were 6'8" as a seventh grader, so pretty much everybody was smalls to you at an early age. I mean,
Yeah.
what does that make me? I'm like tiny. Let's get things started here, guys. Let's talk about Redskins. I want to welcome in all of our friends from Hogs Haven. We're in between weeks. I want to say thanks again to Aaron Lesher. He'll be back next week to talk about Twitter and Redskins social media. Tonight, I thought we would just pick up on what we finished off last week, which is a series of ridiculous questions. So I thought, why not ask some ridiculous questions, and we'll do it Redskins style. Now I'll start off less ridiculous, all right? Because I want to get the blood flowing, get the juices going. And I know T always loves when I ask a question and I rule out an answer. So let's just get that started right away. And I'm going to say best special teams player. Can't say Brian Mitchell. Brian Mitchell's off the table. He's going to get rid of him right away. So special teams player in the history of the Washington Redskins. I feel like we're in a era. This is a special teams kind of era. We're all stuck at home. We're dealing with some serious stuff. We can't go on offense. We can't go on defense. We're all in special teams mode, I feel like, these days. That's kind of where I'm coming from tonight. So I thought, let's talk about some Redskins special teams. We did it right for many, many years before we did it wrong for almost many years. Um, any one of you guys want to go first, feel free to buzz in. I got some. There you go, T. What do you got?
This is historically, right?
Yeah, of course. Anything you want.
We're going to go with one of the last, if not the last, I believe, possibly toe straight on kicker with the fro, Mark Mosley.
Toe with the fro. That should be the name of his poster, by the way. And that might be a first sports t-shirt idea. Toe with the fro.
Only kicker to be named MVP in the
Only
history of the league.
kicker. That's right.
And Lawrence Taylor played football that year.
It's unbelievable to so many people that that's what happened. I don't know. I still can't explain. I don't even try anymore because it's ludicrous. But Mark Mosley was the MVP that year, and he has the hair to prove it. That's a great answer. I couldn't take him off the table. He is. He's. I mean, we've told Mark Mosley stories here for 4 years. But Kevin,
I don't want to I don't want to put you on the spot, but he's still got to be up there in terms of most points in organization history.
well, Chip Lowmiller blew by him, I believe. I think. I mean, most points. I mean, John Riggins had a lot of points. I know Chip Lowmiller blew past him. I got to tell you, the Redskins have stuck with some pretty terrible kickers in the Dan Snyder era. Um, so maybe Mark Mosley. I don't think he's. Mark Mosley still is number one all time. 1206. We just got it from. So Low Miller blew by him in single season, I think. But you're right. Mark Mosley, number one by a lot.
So,
Yeah.
so our ridiculous kicker situation is the curse of the toe with
Yep.
the fro. Is that
Yep,
the
curse the
case?
toe with the fro. Faux
That's
show.
what we got. I mean, that happened to Jeff Atkinson, Ali Haji Sheik. Like, they just got toe froed, apparently.
Norv Turner got toe froed. We would be in the Super Bowl potentially playing for a Super Bowl
Hey,
if they didn't have that.
Low Miller did break the curse. I mean, he ran down on kickoff and knocked the piss out of people. So that was pretty cool. But that's not my answer.
Okay, what do you got?
My answer, for a lot of us that remember our version of Brian Mitchell before Brian Mitchell, our man Mike Now.
Yes.
That's my favorite. Kids that grow up playing football in this day and age will never understand because of the new rules in place. My man Mike Nelms never fair caught a football. He just did not care that someone coming 100 miles an hour from 50 yards away was going to crush him. He never put his hand up to fair catch the ball. He was amazing. He was a multiple Pro Bowler. He was a special addition to the beginning of our era, a Super Bowl champion and a superstar guy.
All right. Well, you're gonna make me stretch here because Mosley and Nelms. I had two more names before I got to.
Can't hear.
I love Jeff Hayes. I grew up thinking Jeff Hayes was the coolest because he was crazy fast. He scored touchdowns. They gave him the ball. They gave him the ball and they asked him. There he is, toe with the fro. Special situation there.
See that?
Do we have
That's
that, Luke? Did you want to put that up? Are we good?
The hotel. The hotel the night before Super Bowl 18, he was the reigning MVP in that photo. Sorry, Ken, because Jeff Hayes was going to be my pick with Mike Now, but I couldn't decide. But please tell me about the fake punt.
That's incredible.
He outran the whole, the North Carolina boy outran the whole all other 21 guys that were on the field and took it back for the burgundy and gold, and no one could say they didn't see it coming because that's what he did at North Carolina. He was an amazing athlete, but I'm not going to say a punter. Growing up, Otis Wansley, he was a running back. He was a late round draft pick for the Washington Redskins, and he played specials for Joe Gibbs, and he always just seemed to show up. They called his name a lot. I always felt like they called his name a lot. So he goes on my honorable mention, and I'm just going to say Sean Taylor because when he came up as a rookie, and first couple years, he played special teams because that's what you were asked to do, even when you were a superstar stud athlete. He made one of the most amazing special teams plays in Pro Bowl history when he put Brian Moorman on the ground in the Pro Bowl, which it just is memorable just because it was Sean Taylor. And then he, of course, had one of the most amazing special teams plays that I ever saw in person when he returned a blocked field goal against the Cowboys at FedEx Field to set up a game winner by Nick Novak. So, the Redskins have had some lean years, and special teams doesn't get a lot of love. But like I said, we did it right for a long time, and we have guys right now that are getting it right. And I got a lot of belief and faith in Ron Rivera. He's one of those guys who puts his best 11 on the field, and I don't think he's going to take special teams off. I don't think he's going to give up plays, by not putting the best guys out there. And I think the depth of your roster is tested most on those plays, and the best GMs and the best coaches show up during those plays, and they can legislate out kickoffs all they want. But punt returns and field goal units and those kinds of those 11 guys are the difference in being 9-7 or 7-9 a lot of years. Maybe we're not talking about the difference between being a Super Bowl winner and not making the playoffs, but you are talking about a game or two And the teams that take it seriously have always been above the ones that don't. And if fans don't want to talk about special teams, I don't like that. I think you got to talk about special teams. Um, I wanted to ask you
The
guys.
Redskins don't have that luxury. The Redskins don't have anybody that even fits that mold. They need everybody out there. You're right, Ken, and I think that's again just another example why Ron Rivera is the right guy right now. That and the things that are coming out of his mouth right now, recently.
Yeah, I mean Pete Carroll comes to mind immediately when he's willing to throw out the Legion of Boom on special teams and put those guys, the Earl Thomas and the Richard Shermans and those BC linebackers he had, and put him on the field for special teams. And sure enough, what were they winning by? 3, 4, and 5 points a week, and they got all the way to the Super Bowl that way. And I just don't believe that you're wasting a player by putting him on the field for an important down, and I hate that philosophy. I think it's a losing philosophy. I hate it. So, I know Joe Gibbs took it seriously. Even though I'm not a big Virginia Tech guy at all, being this close to Frank Beamer and the way that he approached special teams, I felt like it bled all the way up here into the D.C. area. Nobody took it more seriously than him. And again, another program where I think it showed, and probably got a lot of guys jobs in the pros because they were able to put that on tape, being the fastest guy down the field, or making a play out of nothing in important downs. Kevin?
Well, Wayne Sevier took it seriously. You think about Wayne Sevier, you think about Super Bowls, and you think about championships. You think about Gruden, special teams coordinator. You think about little weenie picks and a bunch of losses.
You're right. Danny Smith, for the longest time, he was like this. He was a good coach. He was a good coordinator. And he was neutered by and large in the Dan Snyder era. They put guys on the sidelines that didn't have a lot of power. Danny Smith would be on the sideline chomping that gum. He's still in the league. He's still a special teams coordinator, and he's on the sidelines chomping his gum. He's the one that unfortunately I remember he was trying to get Joe Gibbs not to take that.
Don't call the timeout.
Don't call the timeout. Don't call the timeout.
Can't call the timeout.
Yeah. So I separate Danny Smith out from some of the bad legacy of special teams under Dan Snyder. But yeah, Kevin, that's what happened there. I'll let you lead off, Kevin. Best defensive touchdown in your mind in Redskins history.
It's very easy. I can say it right away. Dexter Manley getting the pressure on Hogaboom. Ball tips into the air, and our man Darryl Grant high-stepping into the end zone to seal the NFC Championship and ensure our trip to the Super Bowl. Maybe the best defensive touchdown in my era of all time in Redskin football.
And by the way, shout out to Darryl Grant and Mike Nelms. Both of those gentlemen have joined us on this show. We recall they were with us at Caddies for the draft show we did 2 years ago. I believe Mike Nelms has taken a leadership position with the NFL, with the Redskins alumni specifically, and he's doing amazing work. And we look forward to helping out in any way we can. We hear from those guys, and man, wasn't it great talking to Darryl Grant? Classic example of a man who knew there was 10 other guys on the field with him. We always saw the guy who ran into the end zone. It almost seemed like he was the one making that stadium rumble for 2.5 yards. Just pounding that grass. But he wanted to talk about his teammates, and I always respected that about Darryl Grant.
What a nice man, and he would have sat up there with us for another 3 hours, especially if we kept bringing them Jamesons.
That's right. T, you got anything you want to recollect?
No, I can't. That would be the one. We've talked about that before. I can't think of a specific defensive play off the top of my head other than that one. Can you?
I happened to be at FedEx Field early on in the FedEx Field era. My wife, who at the time was my girlfriend, her name is St. Megan, and she had scored tickets to the Chicago Bears game. And we were sitting there in the upper deck, And it was early on in the game, and the Redskins put a whooping on the Bears that day. I don't know why or how that happened, but we destroyed them. And one of the early scores, a fumble leaked out, and Big Daddy Wilkinson picked it up and scooted down the sidelines. I mean, it seemed like a 300-yard run. I didn't think it was ever going to get there. And the famous, my memory, the famous part of it was Darryl Green was kind of running along with him. I mean, he was almost like walking. Darryl Green, and Darryl Green wanted him to pitch him the ball. He kept, it looked like he was trying to get Wilkinson to pitch it to him. Hand it off. Give it to me. I'll make it the rest of the way. You go take a rest. Take a knee. You can be okay. And Wilkinson kept the ball and made it all the way into the end zone. To me, that was a big one. And of course, another memory for me being at FedEx was Ryan Kerrigan intercepting an Eli Manning pass. I want to say it was his first game. Was it of his rookie year or his first home game? It was early on, and we didn't win by much that day, and that was the difference. Ryan Kerrigan, getting into the end zone against Eli Manning. So, I know there's others, but those are the ones that stand out to me in my mind.
Hey, when Wilbur Marshall intercepted the ball and did the fake pitch.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know if that was a touchdown, though. Did he take it to the house?
Mm-hmm.
It was just the sickest, sweetest backyard football move. No quarterback taught me how to do that watching option in the 80s. I did it because I saw Wilbur Marshall do it in open field, and it was nasty.
Kevin, so I didn't play, the same level as football as you guys did. The highest level I achieved was BFFL, and I take a lot of pride in that. But I did the Wilbur Marshall fake pitch every single chance I got. In fact, so often that people just stopped buying it because they knew that I was gonna do it. But it's ridiculous how well it worked. If you're running up on somebody holding a football and you do that, you do a fake pitch, 9 times out of 10 you just beat that guy. Now you got to beat the next guy after him, but that guy's looking for the pitch. Wilbur Marshall's a genius.
It was awesome.
It was amazing.
We'd never seen a defender do anything like it.
No. I wanted to ask you guys. We just drafted ourselves. The finishing. I hate to say finishing piece of a defensive line. He's got to play some ball. Montez Sweat's got to show us something. But 4 first-round picks on the defensive line, all of whom came in highly regarded. Obviously, Chase has quite the pedigree and potentially comes in as the highest regarded defensive lineman. I want to ask you guys about position groups. Can you guys tell me another time where we had a position group like this? When you went into the season thinking, man, we got there. We got ourselves something that not a whole lot of the league's going to be able to handle.
It was the years of Dexter Manley, Charles Mann, Dave Butts. Who else was in there?
Well, Darryl Graham was in there.
Dexter, Charles, Butts, and Grant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
that reminds me of.
Yeah, that's a great. But you're talking about any position group, regardless. That might be my number one answer. Aside from the Hogs,
yep.
But I'm going to go out on a limb, and I was going to say the Smurfs. Damn it.
The Smurfs were awesome, but I tell you what, I think we're missing a big one here. I didn't want to be the guy who said it, but it's a huge one. It was 2000, 2001, and we had a position group that, looking back, you would say, how did we ever? I'll give you a hint. How did anyone ever complete a pass on these guys?
Oh boy,
Darryl Green.
You're going about corners.
Champ Bailey. Yeah. Deion Sanders as your starting 3 corners. I want to say, I don't think Springs was here yet. He wasn't here yet. No. He wasn't part of that. But those 3 guys, those 3 corners were our 3 starting cornerbacks on opening day. And I don't think we've ever had a better starting 3 cornerbacks. That's for sure. I don't know that many teams ever had 3 corners that were that good all at the same time.
Darryl and Deion were not necessarily at their prime.
Fair enough.
And people hate me for this. And I know Champ Bailey was a very good football player, but I never, ever, ever felt like he was on the level of Darryl Green while he was here. He might have gotten to that level when he left. But, hey, in name, I'm not going to argue with you. I just don't know about their primes, or if they all collided at the same time.
Yep. I think the Ernest Biner, Gerald Riggs combo we had at running back it was a pretty short group there, a small,
Timmy
short
Smith?
list. Yeah, and
he was in that mix.
He was in that. Yeah, Timmy Smith was in that mix.
Riggs got hurt. Riggs got hurt. We had to go to old Timmy Smith for the one and done, the greatest one-hit wonder ever.
Kevin, remind me, was Kelvin Bryant on that team?
He might have been the water boy. I'm not certain. He might have been in charge of fashion, but I just remember my dad screaming at the television, "Run hard!" He just, from what I gathered, my father thought it was easy for him to get tackled. Yep. What with all his athletic ability.
Yep.
He was a perimeter guy.
Yep. Well, I wanted to change gears on you guys just a little bit and ask you guys this question. And T, you get to lead off. Who is going to play the first game between the Washington Wizards and the Washington Nationals? Who plays first?
The Wizards.
So you think they're going to solve their issues and get out there and play? I mean, I don't have any reason to doubt it, but now there's this whole thing that Kyrie Irving is leading a revolution against the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an opinion on what Kyrie's doing. I just don't think he has enough. Maybe he does. I don't think right now he has enough to stop the momentum of all the rest of the players that I think are on board and want to get this done. Baseball's a mess. Basketball's not that big a mess. Baseball's a mess.
Baseball's what?
A mess.
Baseball's a mess. If Kyrie ruins the first Wizards playoff season that I can remember in quite some time, it's going to really, first of all, it's going to ruin everything I have going with Darren and Juice, the McClinton brothers, when I promised them that the Washington Wizards were going to the playoffs this year, all the way back before the season started, and they looked at me like I had 10 eyeballs poking out of my head, and I said, I don't know how it's going to happen. I mean, I don't know what I can tell you guys. I can't map this out from here, but just trust me, some weird stuff's going to go down, and the Wizards are going to be in the playoffs. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. I would never have wished a global pandemic on anyone, but without it, the Wizards wouldn't be in the playoffs, and Darren and Juice would be right. So I don't know. I don't know what to say, Kevin.
Well, I got the Wizards playing first. Just saw Mad Max attack Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred. You just don't see that very often coming from a guy like Max Scherzer. Obviously, these guys are pissed, and they want some legitimacy, and I don't think that thing gets worked out for quite some time. It sucks, but you know what? What doesn't suck is we are still the defending World Series champions right here in Washington, D.C. Until they figure that out, play one more time, there's nothing they can do about that.
Greg said it best when he talks about baseball is digging its own grave, and James, of course, is ready for the Caps to play immediately. I know the NHL is going to make that effort. I don't know when it's going to happen and how it's going to happen, but the thing about baseball that is so they're like playing out the whole strike lockout playbook, and that's not even where we are. Like, it's going to happen again anyways, and there's no way they're not going to lose just legions of people who look at them and say, what the hell's wrong with you guys? Like,
yeah, it's summer. Everyone's out here losing a ton of money. Whoa, come on, man. Come on. I mean, I understand it to a point, but at some level, I don't know. Someone's got it. Whatever. I don't even want to get into it. Like he said, it's a mess, and they need to fix that and stop talking about each other and chirping behind each other's back, releasing who got COVID and who didn't. It's embarrassing. Just figure that crap out and let us watch some baseball.
It's uncomfortable almost. It's like
weird.
It's like they're not even adults.
If anyone's smalls, it's got to be Manfred. T. I mean, he's not doing himself any favors.
Killing me, Manfred.
Manfred is absolutely killing me. All right, I got a non-sports related question. I want to turn it over to the board. We want us to kick it around. It's not, and you know what? I don't bring you guys on to a show on Tuesday nights to give you easy questions. These are the hard ones. These are the ones that people kick around, and maybe no right answer ever comes around. But that's why we have the James and the AGHs of the world, and the Greg Martins, and the Eric Andersons, and the Robert Cohens, and all these guys. We got the people that we need to get to the bottom of a question that I think deserves an answer. Is cereal soup? Is a bowl of cereal, is that soup? I want to know. I've heard it both ways. T. I've heard arguments on both sides, and I think that people have some serious points.
I'm 44 years old, and no one's ever heard this question because it's freaking ludicrous.
It's not ludicrous. You got a bowl. It's liquidy. There's some goodness inside of it. You eat it with a spoon. What makes soup soup? I'm asking honestly, and Kevin, I appreciate your slow fading, the way you're kind of not happy about this, but I know that brain's kicking into overtime, and I know we got the right people here. Greg says it's not a soup. I think he might be wrong, but I think it deserves just a little bit of discussion.
Your questions have been so on point recently. I've never heard this question posed, and I can't imagine there's only one cold soup out there that I'm familiar with. It's gazpacho.
That's right.
And I'm not certain how my milk can turn into 4 different food coloring colors, and then we can call that soup. Freaking cereal, dude.
What's soup?
Soup.
What makes it soup?
What makes it soup?
Yeah, what makes it soup?
Vegetables, meats, and broth.
Sodium.
The marrow or the flavors from said meats and vegetables when put together to create a meal.
But there's vegetarian soup. Gazpacho.
You don't just pour the broth on some vegetables. You cook it together. These are 2 separate things being put together to create deliciousness. Not put all together in the same pot.
What if you?
Those are 2 separate things colliding. I can't believe I'm talking about this.
If you chop up a banana in a bowl of Rice Krispies with some milk, you're not getting closer to what you're talking about?
No, because banana's fruit.
Banana's a fruit, Kevin. I don't know. I just don't know.
But it has seeds.
Come on, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
I had such high hopes for you building that question up, and it just so.
I'm sorry, it's not a pirate or ninja type situation, but I think it's still deserves.
that was A+.
I still think.
I'd rather talk about drunken pussy hounds than whether cereal is
James
actually.
Rainey says soups require a composite of individual ingredients. Cereal doesn't pass that test. So James says cereal, and Greg Martin, I think you can heat cereal up. There is hot cereal. Without a doubt, there's hot cereal.
Yeah, it's called oatmeal.
Okay. But Greg Martin says you can also eat soup without milk in your hand. I think I'm happy these guys are providing some actual non-face in their hands type discussion.
I'm happy they're providing some discussion also because I'm out.
Well, then answer me this. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
A hot dog is not a sandwich.
I think it is a sandwich.
Wait, T, say it again,
sandwich.
T. Is a hot dog a sandwich, T?
It's a wiener.
Yeah.
See, now we have a disagreement. Talk amongst yourselves.
I don't get it.
It's meat inside of bread with condiments.
A hot dog is definitely a sandwich.
You're just going to take shit I've known for 44 years and tell me it's different shit? Like, if I slap a wiener off your forehead, that constitutes it's no longer a sandwich, right?
Why would you do that with a sandwich meat?
I'm feeling crazy after these last 2 questions.
So right now it's 2-1.
The hot dog goes on the menu under the sandwiches if it's not in the kids section. The sandwich.
My menu has a full section devoted to wieners.
I don't doubt that, Kevin. But we're talking about sandwiches now.
So I got to order a hot dog sandwich, and like, what part of the United States do you do that in, and not get a hot dog slapped off your grill? Seriously.
I think a hot dog is a sandwich.
It is a sandwich. I don't think this is something to get too technical about. No.
But Kevin, I respect your opinion.
But a bunless hot dog is not
A bunless hot dog is not a sandwich.
So you got to order a hot dog, no bun, not to be a weirdo these days.
That's
the world has gone mad. The world's gone bonkers. I know nothing.
And I do think cereal should be offered in the soup section of a menu. We'll table that and go back to sec. Let me ask you this, Kevin, and then this hopefully gets you back to a place where you feel more comfortable. If animals could talk, which animal would be the rudest?
The hyena.
The hyena wouldn't be rude. Why does the hyena got to be rude? It's just chilling.
Really?
Yeah, really. You think I don't think a hyena would be the rudest.
Hyena is a jackass. Did you ever see Lion King?
It wants to suck the marrow from your bone as it chews on them.
I think they're just mean. That's not rude. I think rude, I'm thinking like a meerkat.
Not mean and rude.
Maybe a prayer line.
Mean, rude situation.
I don't. Mean is just take what's yours. Don't ask questions. Rude is kind of stand aside and make snarky comments.
All right, any feline.
All right, now we're stereotyping felines here. I don't know how I feel about this.
Big cats, small cats.
All right, that's fair. I think that falls into. I said meerkat or prairie lion. I think the way they kind of pop up out of the hole and look around, but don't want to ever say anything to you. As soon as you walk up, they go back down in. Forget those guys. I think they'd have some pretty rude comments to add to the discussion. And also, Greg Martin says a hamburger could more be considered a sandwich than a hot dog. And James Rainey says the rudest animal would be a honey badger, which actually I think is probably the smartest thing that's been said on the show so far.
How about a gnat?
A gnat's not an animal. Insect.
Wait.
Apparently, I don't know shit about nothing.
That's an animal, dude. That's an animal.
Meme's not rude. Cereal, soup, hot dogs, and sandwiches, and gnats aren't animals. Why did I come here tonight?
All right. Okay. I'm gonna give you a big opportunity here to save the show, Kevin. Big opportunity.
Huge shoes to fill.
We like to talk about over-unders, betting over-unders, gambling over-unders, over-unders. Think about over or under. The toilet paper roll. The toilet paper roll. Over or under? What's the
over?
What's the right way? T?
Over.
Thank you. We all agree. The right way to string up a toilet paper roll over the top. Now, it's shocking how many people get this wrong in 2020, and in my opinion, embarrassing that people don't understand that you want to pull the toilet paper over the top. You don't want to reach and pull it from underneath. You're gonna rip it. It's not clean. It's not sanitary. Kevin.
Speaking of reach and toilet paper, back to front or front to back?
Oh, back to it's like 70-30. You got to go 70-30. 80-20.
What?
Yeah. Well,
can we turn the show off now?
Hey, you're the one with this shirt that says "We're killing you."
If this was supposed to save this show.
Hey, by the way, everyone still knows who you are. T. You can't cover up your face. You got a big jersey that says Strachan behind you. We can put you on a big screen. There's no way for you to separate yourself from this show tonight, sir.
We need more pre-show discussion.
Even internationally, as far as Wales, AGH tells us.
We don't have that plan going in anymore, and then shit like this happens.
Dude, what are you talking about plan? It's all written down on our show agenda. I got it right here. You can see plain and clear. A whole plan. Written out in ink. No Big Mitch. No Sean Taylor. Big Daddy Wilkinson. Is cereal soup. It's all right there. It's clean, plain as day. Plain as day. Hey, I just wanted to get our minds out of all the crap going on. It's serious times we live in, and it takes a Tuesday night to talk about some unserious things. And I don't know. I appreciate you guys playing along. I certainly want to say special thank you to all the guys who hung out with us tonight, and as they do on a weekly basis. We will have actual sports to talk about here very soon. I'm very confident in that. And I do think that I do think the NHL has a chance. James, I want to be there for James here on this one because I know James needs to see him some Caps hockey. I do too. They're a legit contender. I'd love to see those guys out there. It's gonna. If James has a chance to answer a quick question before we sign out, I would just ask him. At this point in time, are we talking about a brand new type season? I mean, if we're going to call it a tournament of some kind, in hockey, the postseason is the hardest postseason in all of sports. You get once you win the Stanley Cup, you've gone through one of the biggest meat grinders, in all the majors.
Meat grinder.
See, you know what? Hey, T, remember this, T. We had a show where me and you and I forget it was like Mike Randizio, I think, the head coach of Paul VI, and he said meat grinder, and I said, you know what? If Kevin was on this show, he never would have let you get past those words, meat grinder.
This is right after the hot dog sandwich scenario. It's starting to get weird around here, and I can't believe we're going to end on that question. I'm going to have to go outside and get hosed off.
Don't drink any of that hose water. What's that, T?
He's just thinking it's starting to get weird. Come on.
Yeah, we're about 4.5 years into the weird.
Yeah, man. We were talking about Redskins. We ended up talking about, I don't know, meerkats and
hyenas.
The cereal soup question in another time would have been asked around 1:30 at night on an audio-only version of a show that never would have seen the light of day.
I think it has.
I would be shocked if you're wrong. To be honest with you, we have to dig up the files from the vault that no one is allowed to listen to. All right, guys, let's put a pin in this. We'll come back next week. We'll pick up right where we left off at this exact second, at this exact topic. I want to say thank you to Victor Maddox over on the Eastern Shore. Appreciate your hard work, my friend. Thank you to Luke David. He's rocking the Scherzer jersey, representing labor tonight. We're a union basement, I guess, these days. And want to say thank you again to Carrie Gaskins, McDonough, and the whole 95 Good Counsel girls basketball team. What an awesome group. Got a chance to talk to them. Got a chance to see a box score where we got to celebrate T's 3 points that night. It was awesome. Talked a lot about that.
So somebody's going to tell Kevin Smalls that there's a lot more to a basketball player than the amount of points he or she scores in a basketball game. There's lots of things that don't show up on a stat sheet that I did very well in that game.
Got no doubt.
I'm going to buy you a hot dog sandwich next chance I get.
And a bowl of Frosted Flakes soup. Let's just put it all together.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. Then I'm going to release my cat and my honey badger on your face.
He's Tim Strachan.
Later, guys. Hey, I do want to go on a positive note. We haven't said much about him lately, but I do think it's worth mentioning. I like what I see out of Dwayne Haskins right now. Dwayne, keep it up, man. Your bodies look great. I mean, that takes work. That takes work. That tells me he's been putting in the time. I'm really getting excited for him. I'm all behind him, and I want him to keep doing some good stuff. I love the way the players are talking about him too. So let's end on that positive note going into next week.
He's Kevin Ricka.
I wanted to end on a positive note, but now I need you to check this body out, P-Bird Strachan.
Oh yeah, you working it in the attic tonight, man.
Dude, he's lost weight. How much are you down?
Are you like curls underneath the desk while we're on the show, or what are you doing?
Ken's first 3 questions cost me 15 pounds. I freaked out, and it's all on the floor here. I got to get a mop.
Yeah, this shirt does not look dry. It's been put through quite
This
a night.
attic is piping hot up here. This is my Dwayne Haskins routine. But I will say this: Dwayne Haskins looks nothing like he looked when we drafted him last April. That's what happens when you become a man on multiple levels, and he's taking it serious. He looks lean and ripped. I love it.
I want to say again, thank you to the guys on the board, from Wales to Jersey to wherever
Wherever they got toilet paper, Ken.
wherever they got toilet paper, and they're still talking about it on the board, and I do appreciate that. They're taking
I do
tonight's
think in
topic
Wales
seriously.
they do it underneath. In Wales they go underneath. In America we go over top.
I think AGH said they go over the top.
I just reach around and see whatever I can get
Maybe
done.
it's just Australia.
And then
I don't know.
And then when I get tired, I just call it dead.
Well, we're going to call it a day on that then, Kevin Ricka. How about that? Until next Tuesday night, I'm Ken Marangolo, and this was Thank God It's Tuesday. See you guys next week. Appreciate it.